Hello everybody, welcome back to another OWTV interview. My name is Apostle, and joining us today, we have UltraViolet from Spacestation Gaming. UltraViolet, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
We're glad to have you here. I'm assuming that things are probably going pretty good for the SSG team right now after a pretty successful weekend, pretty simple, straightforward matches. I'm guessing the good vibes are high right now.
Yeah, I think it's just important that we're on the top, so we have to continue making sure we're staying on that top and not letting teams catch up to us.
Absolutely, yeah. Would you say that being near the top is kind of unexpected place for you guys, or is this something that you kind of feel like you still need to fight for, given that there is a little bit of competition there among the rest of the partner teams, kind of all vying for that top spot?
Yeah, I think it's definitely where we should be. I think the other partner teams are definitely strong though, so we can't really let our guard down and still have to keep developing our strats and our swaps and our meta reads.
For sure, yeah. On a personal level, do you feel any added pressure to yourself when you are sitting at the top of the leaderboard? Does it feel like you need to be playing that much better just to make sure you can maintain that spot, or does it kind of give you more of a sense of a relief?
No, I don't think there's really additional pressure. I think we dropped one map against Kafe the other day, and a lot of, I think I saw some people being like, "Oh, they look so weak." But, yeah, as long as we win the matches, and I think it's just important that we learn from each of our losses and make sure that even if we lose a map to these teams, we still solidify. And I think that's especially against LuneX. I think we had a lot of situations where it seemed like things were going to go really badly. Every single map started with us pretty badly losing. But I think as long as in these situations we're able to figure out a solution and stick to that plan and trust each other, I think it's still fun.
For sure, yeah. Now, I do actually want to ask a bit more about the Kafe game because I think that one was a bit of a surprise to people. It was closer than a lot of people expected. How did they end up getting that map? What went wrong there? Did they just kind of surprise you with the level that they were actually able to display?
No, I think it's more just our circuit meta read wasn't very strong. In both series, I think we were making a lot of swaps, choosing a bunch of different comps. I think it was just more about us finding the right comp for this certain situation.
Sure.
And Circuit's a very unique map.
Yeah. Would you say you're still kind of experimenting when it comes to Circuit?
Not anymore. I think in scrims we've definitely worked on our weaknesses there, but still I think the meta is changing a lot. People are finding out which flex DPS are still good, which tanks are going to be meta of Shion and all of that.
Yeah. What do you make of Shion kind of coming in and shifting things up?
She's really fun. I've been playing her a lot. But,
oh yeah,
I think she's definitely really strong. She makes a lot of characters feel weird, especially the Shion versus Tracer matchup. I think a lot of teams have been struggling with. You're throwing around all your blinks, and then Shion just fires one right click at you, and you're forced to recall.
Sure.
Seems like a very difficult matchup for her. But no, I think she's definitely very strong, and as people are getting better at her, she's seeming more and more meta.
Are we leaning too strong, or is it just a matter of people kind of still need a bit more time to adjust into playing against her?
I think she's more of a character that gets stronger as people learn her than people learn how to play against her. I think she has a high skill ceiling.
So are you expecting that we see nerfs coming in the future, or do you think the level is okay for now?
I think she'll probably get nerfed. I was looking at top 10 the other day, and it was just 10 Shion players, but I hope they don't do too much to her because she's really fun.
Yeah. So design-wise, it's a win, but just needs numbers tweaked a little.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the strongest DPS in the game right now.
Sure. I did notice in your game against Kafe that you guys actually ended up banning the Shion when it was the map 3 there. Is that because of this perceived strength we're seeing? You guys just kind of wanted to take that kind of X factor off the board, or was it just kind of throwing it in for fun?
Yeah, I think that was our first match of the week, and going into that match, we didn't really realize how strong Shion would have been. Yeah, I think we were a little bit underrating her. So when we were having trouble with it during the match, we're okay, why don't we just ban this hero and then just go back to stuff we're used to?
Sure. Out of curiosity, while we're on the topic of Shion, how do you think various regions are like adapting to her? Because we're seeing different regions kind of use her a bit differently. Do you think NA is kind of like doing a good job of figuring out where she fits into different comps?
I think it's hard to tell. A lot of like every region is doing something really different right now. Like
Mhm.
there's all of the there's the ball in Europe and like the Sigmazuki and like the Sim and all of that. And then I think Korea is doing all this like Maga Shion stuff. I think it's hard to tell like which one's actually best until the land comes.
Yeah, it's going to come down to seeing it in the head-to-head matchups.
Yeah. Because like teams will try like NA teams will try like these European comps or these like Korean comps and like it just won't work. But it's hard to say if that's just because like the comp's not good or like the teams don't really like believe in the comp or like it doesn't like they just don't have like the roster capabilities or understanding of how it plays.
Sure, sure. I'm talking about North America specifically. Who do you think is doing the best job so far of like picking up Shion and kind of adapting the fastest? Is it you guys or is it someone else?
I think it's definitely us. I think Dennis especially like really picked up that hero. I would say it's questionable the perk choices sometimes from him, but like despite that, like he's just dominating on the hero, so it's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
And then Lenny's been getting a lot better at him too.
Oh, yeah, is there still kind of like discussion happening on which of them between the two will kind of be looking to pick up that role if it does become a mainstay of the meta?
Yeah, I think she's strong enough right now that like she kind of can fit into both roles really well. But I
Okay.
can totally see that like nerfs come out and maybe they nerf like her bike or like her mobility, maybe she become more like a main DPS. Or maybe they shift her power into more of like a flanking style and she becomes a flex.
Just
I think
depending
right
on
now,
whether
like,
they lean into like mobility versus damage.
Yeah, I think right now it's like what characters you're playing her with. Like you're playing her with like Sim, you're probably flex DPSs on Sim,
Right.
and like what hero pools like your DPS have.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Going back a little bit though, I do want to ask more about Kafe because Kafe has now beaten Disguised in the last weekend, which means that they've beaten one of the partner teams. What do you think of Kafe now that you've had the chance to like play them firsthand? Like, is there anyone that stands out there on that team? What do you make of that team's overall power level?
Yeah, I think Ryan actually looks really good on the Shion.
Yeah.
Also think this meta is like pretty good for sniper. They've been like doing really well on the Sig and Diva. So I think that's like the main things.
Do you think their win over Disguised is like considered an upset, or is it at this point is it kind of just like something that you'd be expecting?
I think it's an upset in that like it should have been closer, but I think
Should have
these
been
guys
closer.
don't look very strong right now at all. They
So
look
the
very
win
lost.
itself isn't the upset, just the fact that it was like a pretty dominant win.
Yeah,
That's-
definitely.
Okay.
I was definitely expecting like a 5-map series, like could go either way type of thing. But watching that, like it didn't really look like that at all.
No, definitely not. Going back to talk about you guys, we were talking to Sugarfree recently, and he talked about how he was picking up more of the calling from you. Can you talk us through that change a bit and what that's been like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely really good. I think kind of one of our like biggest like weaknesses like in stage 1 was that I was like a really big like leader, like calling like everything, like plans, like let's call this push, like let's set up this fight exactly like this. And so it's like really easy to like for me to like miss some specific detail and then we're like lost on that or like miss like some like plan like or like make some error. And so like just letting me focus on like just like the ults and like kind of like pulling Hawk back and forth and like just like more of like the supports job. And then like having Letty and like honestly our DPS and tanks too. More like leading the tempo of our front line and like how we want to set up our choke points and all of that, like definitely makes us feel like a lot more solid and like flexible in how we play. I think that shows in our games too. Like our tempo and like the way we play feels like so like I think hard for teams to deal with.
Was it kind of like a natural shift for him to kind of come into this role, or did it take like a kind of dedicated attempt to really like make him embrace that kind of more team captain style, if you will?
I think it was surprising because we were trying this thing in scrims when we got back to stage 2 where everyone like had a day. So like it was Lenny's day, then he's gonna call all the bans and like he's gonna try like because he's calling the bans, he like really wants to make sure that like we're winning the map.
Right.
So like he's like, oh my like bans, like I like carried us this map. So in the map, he's like trying super hard, like calling everything like, yo, Hot, come over here, let's set up like this, like do this. And we're like, wait, this kind of like really working for us. So we try to like integrate that more into like our general style. Yeah, I think it's been working well.
Is this something that you find? Sorry, go ahead.
And to answer your question, I think it's something that like really fits Lenny because he's like has a lot of experience in like a lot of different metas throughout Overwatch. So I think he has like a general read on like what he wants like certain players to do in certain fights and like what would make like the game easier for him.
Sure. Yeah. Now, this, you mentioned that you kind of had a few days where you were going through like all the members of the team. Is this kind of like experimentation? Is that like pretty normal for SSG, or is this more of like a scenario where it's like you felt you needed something to improve and this was like the strategy that ended up working out for you guys?
Yeah, I think it was definitely something after Champions Clash. Like, you know, we lost to Dallas 3 times in a row. We got 0-4 in Champions Clash. We're like, we need to change something. Let's try a bunch of different stuff. Let's try like different people like leading the bands, different people like ideas and like comps and like strategies, and like Admiral like calling like all of our plans like one day or something like that. Just like seeing like what type of stuff works for us. It was important after like kind of figuring out where like our strengths like lie.
Sure. Now, how much of like this overall plan was like kind of Chris led versus like ideas coming from you guys and the players?
I think after the tournament, we talked a lot about like having more players like contribute to like our overall strategy than just like me and Chris like leading most of the bans. Like especially Hawk, I think has been helping a ton of the bans as like our tank player. Like he can kind of see like what's gonna happen like in these matchups if we ban certain things.
Yeah.
And I think like Chris is like really good at like organizing, like making sure we're like sticking to that and keeping it all like solid.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely seems to be working out so far. So I'm sure that that experimentation is got to be considered a success at least so far, and we'll just have to see if it can continue to kind of pay dividends for you guys as you keep moving further. In your next game of the weekend though versus LuneX, it was a 3-0, but from a viewer's perspective, it felt like it was one of the closer ones that we saw. How did it feel from your perspective actually being in the game there?
It actually felt really good just because like we would lose like certain maps and like certain matchups like pretty one-sidedly. You see like our like circuit, we like maybe won 2 fights in our defense, but it definitely feels good to like go into the next round and someone calls, hey, can we try this comp like with these heroes and like try this strategy, and everyone just tries that and then we like, dominate on that and like feel really confident. I think it definitely like, even though it's close, it feels good that like we like have more like everyone has more confidence to like share their own ideas on like how we can solve this shit.
Yeah. And so going back to what you were talking about earlier, was Lenny kind of the one who was kind of taking charge and stepping up there?
Lenny a lot, but I think everyone, because we honestly have a lot of like veteran players. I think we probably have the most like veterans like in OWCS and A.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good that like a lot more people are contributing to like our plans and stuff outside of like, you know, in the middle of the map.
Yeah. Now, looking at your opponents of LuneX, they're a core that's kind of been around that like 3rd, 4th spot for a while now. How close would you say they are to like you guys and the other like top dogs? I would say the other partner teams, but like I think it's pretty definitive that they're above Disguised at this point. So would you say that like they're kind of getting to that precipice of being like solidly considered one of the better teams there in NA?
I think they can be. LuneX are really weird because they really do seem solid in like certain games, and especially against like the worst teams, they just completely destroy them, show that they're like a tier above. But so many times in these games, like I watch them play versus Liquid, and they just have these like unlosable situations where like it just feels like, and it just never like quite ends up like a win. Like
yeah,
the nothing ever happens team kind of, but I hope something happens because they should be better.
Is it just an experience diff? Like, is that the difference that kind of separates? Is the experience and the fact that you have veteran players, is that the tier break between them and like the rest of the top teams?
It might be. It might be like finding like getting in a good position and knowing like how to convert that, or like being in a bad position and like knowing like what your like outs are, kind of.
Mm,
Finding the right swaps, like finding the right like surprise plays that you can make, stuff like that.
yeah.
It seems like when they have the lead, like they don't really know like how to make sure they never lose it. When like that's like a lot of what Overwatch is right now, I think.
Right. Yeah. So it could just be that when they need to work on having that kind of steadfastness that they need once they're actually in a position to kind of secure the win, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, one thing that we did see in the match against LuneX, but that we've also been seeing, I think, kind of in general in North America, is we're seeing a decent amount of Orisa, especially compared to the other regions. What do you think it is that's kind of putting this hero in the meta more for this region? Is it just kind of like the fact that NA has so many like of these famed kind of ground tank players, or what is it?
I think it's Orisa is like actually in a really weird or like is primed to be really good right now, just because like everyone was playing this like Mizuki, Mei, Sig, chain stun their tank comp, but Orisa is really good in that type of stuff. I especially think she's good into the Mizuki Mei, I think is what we found. But I think with Shion coming out, she's not necessarily like the best pick in every single situation. But before, like the patch before when you were playing Orisa, like against Fuel on that patch, I think Orisa was like very, very strong.
So like kind of the sleeper pick almost.
Yeah, I think so.
So now that the patch has changed a bit, do you have any other heroes that you think might be the sleeper pick and I just need to like kind of be figured out a little more? It can be a complete hot take.
It's all confidential. They'll see in the game.
Oh, it's confident. Okay. Yeah. So you're keeping it as the secret weapon. That's what I'm hearing.
Indeed.
Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about what we might be seeing in the next few games, because your next match is going to be against Team Liquid. First thing I want to ask is, what do you make of the changes that they've made and how they've done so far this stage? Obviously seems to be an improvement over stage 1.
Hopefully. I don't
Hopefully.
know. Like, I understand why they made the changes they did. It's just, it seems really weird to me because I feel like they really lack like leadership. And even though like they have like a lot of like individual talent, like I'm not sure exactly like how their comms work, but I can't imagine like these comms are like super.
You think it's messy?
I feel like a team like really needs a leader. And like, as far as I know, like they're like big leaders before were like Infected and RuPaul, and like not having them in, I feel like could be really harmful to a team.
So you think right now they're kind of like a little lost when it actually comes to the in-game stuff?
Yeah, I think not the in-game stuff, but there's so much like things that they're missing with like having 2 Koreans trying to learn English at the same time. Like not really like I know Attack doesn't like talk too much when I played with him. I feel like there's so many things that they need to work on aside from like just like the comps they're playing that, I mean, maybe this bootcamp will help them out, but I feel like there's like so much more they need to grow before they can like be like top 2.
So you don't think they're ready to challenge you guys?
No, definitely not.
Would you say that they have kind of improved from stage 1, or is it kind of just circumstantial so far?
I think they have more potential, but again, it's like they have this like language barrier they need to work on. They like need to like figure out like which of their players is like gonna like lead them in like the plans and stuff. Figure out like what their like comp style is. I think they play D.Va so much in like a hard D.Va meta, or like a hard meta for D.Va in a lot of places. If like Mizuki being as strong as he is, yeah, I feel like they're not really like sure what they want to do.
So out of curiosity, whose job do you think it is to fix that? Does that come to like the players kind of working on like their own kind of synergies with each other, or is it like Kasoris who needs to come in and kind of like, you know, put the foot down and kind of show them the way?
I think it's everyone. I don't think there's like one like quick solution to this. You know,
No.
like losing your leader and like one of the best flex sports in NA, like at that time, and then also they feel like they really need an off-tank player, and then both of these like players speak Korean. Like it's not something that they can like instantly like pick up these 2 players and become like the strongest team.
So
I think it's just gonna take a lot more time.
Do you think that they have enough time left in the stage to be able to figure this stuff out?
Not to be us.
No. So basically, they got to be playing long term, looking at stage 3, maybe.
Yeah, stage 3, I think like they could probably contest top 2.
Okay. Now, your other match on this coming weekend, probably a little bit easier versus Disguised, who, there's no way to sugarcoat it. They've had a tough stage. What is your kind of take on what's going on with this team so far? If we look at like the fan opinions, everyone's like, oh, too many coaches, oh, players that are just like, washed up or never had it in the first place, whatever they're saying. Like, what is your take as someone who's like been seeing this team develop?
I think they like kind of seem like they remind me of LuneX in the way that they like lack this like leadership and experience to convert like their advantages and like find solutions to problems, but also like they don't have the length of time together as a team as LuneX do to like have these like solid like fundamentals and basics down together. That's my take on them.
Yeah. Do you think that it's kind of a similar situation with Liquid, where it's like they could be good, but the timeline just doesn't provide enough time for them to actually get to the level they need?
Yeah, I think their roster definitely has talent. Like it's easy to see that like all those players are very good. It's just it takes a lot more than good players to be a good team.
Yeah. Do you think there's any potential that they kind of manage to pull a Kafe situation and find a surprise map, or is it just going to be a clean sweep for you guys?
No, I think it'll be a 3-0.
Yeah.
That's not long and hard, and I just think they need more time.
Yeah. So you guys are pretty confident that you'll be able to find like a 5-0 regular season here?
Yeah, for sure. It would be embarrassing if we don't.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's the kind of confidence we like.
I think what I was saying earlier about like having good players isn't all you need.
Yeah.
I think it was easy to see us in stage 1, but I think that we're starting to get more of the other pieces down, like using our experience, our leadership, like finding ways to use that and surprise other teams, I think has been like really helpful, along with just having really skilled players.
And that's basically the difference maker. That's what sets you guys apart.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, UV, that about wraps up all the questions I have for you here today. But before I let you go, do you have anything you want to shout out or anything you just want to say on the stage?
Hopefully I said like in this interview last. I was like, cool. But shout out my family for supporting me, all of that. Shout out the fans for supporting SSG. And we'll get first NNA for you guys.